What's up guys, and welcome back to another video on my channel. And today we are talking about the topic if we have seen the bottom of this correction. And of course this is not a simple yes or no answer, and that is why I have brought some points that I want to show you, and with these points we are going to evaluate the chances if we have seen the bottom or if we don't have seen the bottom. And without further delay, I would say let's get straight into this. Let's start right here with the most important thing, and that is the buyer index. You can see that right here. That is the latest update I have just posted on Patreon. And by the way, if you want daily updates on the buyer index and also market updates, then make sure to subscribe to my Patreon. That is the first link in the video description. And let's get straight into this. So right here you can see the buyer index. In case you are not familiar with the buyer index, that is a self-developed indicator, so you will find that nowhere else. You can just find it here on my channel, and that is showing how many buyers are in the market. If there are too many buyers in the market, like for example right here, there's a bad sign. If there are just very few buyers in the market, like right now, this is a positive sign. And with the latest price increases, we can also see that buyers have joined the market. You can see that right here where the red line is, that is where we currently are. That is currently the minus 47.1 level. So we have increased a little bit. And what I have also written here in the post is right here that from the last update, so that is no big change. We have not a new high in the trend, but currently it is looking like we are forming an upward trend right here. And let me also show you what I mean with that. So currently you can see that right here we are moving to the upside right here, but let me change the color right here and also delete this one. So you can see that we are currently moving here to the upside, but we not have made a new high. And it would be of course very nice if we continue right here to move to the upside, so buyers continue to join the market and then making a new high, so that this upward trend right here that we are currently seeing in the buyer index, that this is continuing. But of course we know from the past that in the buyer index, you can see it right here, sometimes there are not real trends. You can see that is just up and down and up and down. But it would be nice if we see a continuation of buyers joining the market. So from the buyer index perspective, this is still looking good. Of course right here from the price perspective, this is also looking good. You can also see that right here we had a nice liquidation candle that has brought us below the latest lows right here, also got below the psychological mark of 40k. We also had high volume in this candle right here, which is a good indication that we have seen the bottom so far. But don't get over enthusiastic right here, because there are more points on the list right now that I want to cover. The next point that I want to cover is, of course, you can see it right here, that is also what I also got asked right here. And that is of course the main question that we're also talking about in this video: will we go down to 30k and will we see the death cross? If we will go down to 30k, that is of course the general question of this video. This is what we are going to answer in the end of the video. But if we will see the death cross, you can see it right here with the highest probability. I don't want to read all the text to you right now, but in case you are curious, feel free to pause the video and go through it. But here in this text, I have said it is the absolute highest probability that we will see the death cross, just in case we make a huge move to the upside, which is very, very unlikely. This would not happen, but it is almost for sure that here we will see the death cross in the very near future, so very likely in the next days. And normally a death cross is indicating a bear market, but you can see that right here that we already had a death cross right here. That was back in June last year. Here we had the death cross, we had the golden cross again, and right now very likely we will see the death cross again. So that is also then the question, how high is the value of this death cross? But I will mention that on a later point in this video again. Right now, let me jump to also a thing that is very interesting and that I'm watching very closely right now in the market, and that is the Bitcoin dominance. You know, the Bitcoin dominance is something we are taking a look on this channel for so long, for such a long period of time, and you can see right here we have a red line that is at 39.6%. We have touched this level 5 times if we are counting that right here. So you can see that that was the first attempt, so the first low, the second attempt, the third attempt stopped a little bit before, so at 39.9%. Then right here we have the fourth attempt, the fifth attempt, which also brought us slightly below it, but then Bitcoin dominance managed to bounce back to the upside right here, you can see it, and then got rejected right here from the 50-day moving average, and right now is moving back to the downside. And you know guys, the more often we touch a level, the more likely it is to break. So of course chances are getting higher and higher each time we are touching this level that we are going to break it. So we have a even higher chance this time that we will break it. You know guys, that normally in every bull market we are seeing a new low in the Bitcoin dominance. So far we not have seen this. This is why I'm very confident that this will happen, so that we will see it, that the Bitcoin dominance is dropping below this level, and once it is breaking below this level, and that's of course the point which is so important, then likely we will see something like this right here. Maybe if you are a follower of this channel for a longer period of time, you notice that we have watched right here the Bitcoin dominance in this bearish trend right here, and once it has broken this trend, it has moved massively to the downside, which means that altcoins have significantly outperformed BTC, and that is something that I'm also looking forward to in case we should break this level right here. And as I said, I'm very confident that we will break this level. Then also what we can take a look at is the others dominance. That is something that I just found right here. I am not 100% sure which coins are excluded right here. From my point of view, that are all the coins that are not listed with a dominance on TradingView, and you can just simply go right here, type in dominance, and then you can see right here all the coins, so like BTC, USDT, Ethereum, Cardano, XRP, and so on. You can see right here the list is quite long, so there are several coins right here, and I think all of these coins right here are excluded in the others dominance. So this right here is basically the real small altcoin market, and what we have seen right here, or what we are currently seeing, is that we have made a new all-time high. So you can see that right here the red line is the old all-time high. We have just broken this right here with a false breakout, then we got rejected, moved back to the upside, stayed above the old all-time high right here, so the red line, then going back to the downside, retest of the old all-time high, and right now we are going back to the upside, which in general, now I have switched the charts right here, which in general is a positive sign for me, and also a sign that these coins, these altcoins, as I said, the list that I've showed before is very likely excluded, but that these coins are ready for a rally. But also what I have to say right here is that this right here is just a tiny new all-time high, so it's not something that is significantly, and that is why I would also not give this the highest valuation in my analysis. Then also something that I want to show you, which I've also showed very often on my Patreon account, is the fear and greed index, which is still in the extreme fear levels for quite some time. You can see that right here. We are pretty much in the fear or extreme fear levels for quite some time. And in case you don't know, the Fear and Greed Index is of course a contrarian indicator. So that means if there is extreme fear in the market, this is probably extremely bullish. In case there is extreme greed in the market, this is a more bearish sign. But of course, that doesn't mean once we are reaching these levels that directly this has to mean that, for example, if we are reaching extreme fear, that the market the next day will ultimately pump, and that is the only thing that can happen. That's of course not the case. We can also stay in extreme levels for such a long period of time. We can see it right now. We are over 1 month in the extreme fear levels. Here we also were for several weeks, I think, in the extreme greed levels. So you see that is not something that has to directly influence the market. But a thing that I also want to mention right here, and that I also have mentioned in the Patreon post, so in case you have read this right here, then you already know what I want to say. And that is, of course, let's quickly jump back right here into the BTC chart right here. When we are dealing with corrections, for me it is also important what is happening afterwards. So from my current standpoint, we are right before the final market stage. So we are close before entering the final market stage of this crypto bull cycle, which means that very likely a very good time is ahead of us, especially for the altcoins. You know my opinion about BTC and altcoins, but let's go back to the topic. So a very special time and likely very good time for the altcoin market especially is right in front of us. And if we just take a look into simple market rules, in case there is something like this, so we can take this one right here as example. So the COVID crash right here, no, that is not what I wanted. So the COVID crash right here, that you can see right here, where the prices were extremely low, where we had very good buy-in opportunities, and after that a very long upward trend has followed. In case we are seeing something like this, we don't want people to be extremely bullish right here. We don't want that people are extremely bullish and just saying, yeah, I'm super bullish, this market will continue, and I'm just waiting for it to continue. No, we want, of course, the exact opposite, and the exact opposite right now is also happening. So we can see that I've just showed it to you. Extreme fear is in the market. People are uncertain about this market. People are start to not believing in this market, becoming doubtful even of the altcoins. You know the list, I could go on and on and on, but you know the main thing right here is that the main narrative right now is negative. The main narrative right now is that there is fear in the market, uncertainty, and that it is not clear what is going to happen next and if they should stay in the crypto market. Of course, guys, you know, nothing is for sure. It is not sure if we are seeing this final market stage, but you can analyze the markets and then say, okay, what is the highest probability? We don't have to do a deep dive in that. You know, I have done several videos on that on my channel. The main point that I mean right here is that we are having this bad sentiment right now, and that is also what we want. We want bad sentiment, and we want it as bad as possible. And the reason why we want this is, of course, that then when something like this one right here is happening, that the prices are increasing, that the people are still doubtful about this market and not really believing in this move to the upside. That there are factors where they are saying, okay, right now we are moving back to the upside, but we have seen this before, like right here, and then we're going sideways, and then we continue to drop. So this is over for the market. I will just take the chance to, once we get a little bit higher, then maybe I will sell my stack of cryptos, and that is the point where we are coming back. The death cross right here, then very likely in a couple of days we will see some news. Death cross is appearing in the Bitcoin chart. This is normally indicating a bear market and so on. Then we have again news that are suppressing the price increases, which is good good for the sentiment, because the sentiment is not shifting that fast. And we also, as I said, we don't want the sentiment to shift that fast, because if the people or the retail investors are joining too fast, then this move very likely will not last very long. And that is also what I've mentioned before, why we want this extreme fear and this extreme bad sentiment, as bad as it can get, that retail investors are joining the latest point in this rally and getting maybe the peak, but then very likely when the crowd of retail investors is joining the market or rejoining the market, that very likely then we are very close to the top, and then we will see the turning point and then really moving into a bear market. So right now, of course, in the end, the question is, have we seen the bottom or haven't we seen the bottom? And this question, as I mentioned in the very beginning of this video, is not a simple yes or no question, but I have showed you several points right now that I'm looking at. And with all these points that I've just showed you, for me, we are going with the higher probability that we have seen the bottom. But also for me, it is not a super high probability. It is 65 to 70%. So 65 to 70% that this one right here, oh no, now the chart have moved right here. So 65 to 70% that this right here, what we have seen was the bottom. But there is still a 30 to 35% chance that this one right here was not the bottom, and we are moving back to the downside and then doing the move to the upside, which we are all waiting for right now. And what I'm taking a look right now, so what is very important for me is first, of course, right here, the buyer index, what I have showed you right here. So if we are seeing a continuation of buyers are joining the market, making a new high in this trend right here, that is the first point. The second point is for me what I'm also watching, the Bitcoin dominance. As I said, we want to see it drop it below the 39.6%. In case we are doing that, for me that would increase the chances that this right here is the move and that we have seen the bottom, because as I said, that means that altcoins are outperforming BTC, and that is normally in an upward trend and not in a downward trend. So that means that normally then also BTC is moving to the upside, but altcoins are moving much more to the upside. And it is not the other way around, that BTC is falling, altcoins are also falling, but not that much, or that altcoins then even move to the upside. So that is, historically speaking, more unlikely, which is why, in case that should happen, this would increase the chances for me that we have seen the bottom. Also, others dominance, if we see a new high right here, that would also increase the chances, and that are the points that I'm currently taking a look at. Of course, if there are any changes, good as bad, I will post them on Patreon or right here on my YouTube channel. And now I have showed you all the points that I wanted to show you in this video. In case there are any more questions or any opinions, maybe you have something to add, just feel free to write them down in the comments. In case this video was helpful, then please feel free to give this video a like. Also make sure to check out my Patreon account, it is the very first link in the video description. Also, you can subscribe to this YouTube channel in case you don't want to miss any future update videos. That's it for this video, see you in the next one, and as always, have a nice day.